signing a record deal. I mean, that's the dream, isn't it? It's the ultimate validation, you get that big advance, and you finally feel like you've made it. But what if I told you that behind all that glamour, there's a system, a financial trap really, but often leaves artists deep in debt, even when their music is a huge success? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on something called the recoupment illusion.
All right, let's make this real for a second. Imagine a record label calls you up and they offer you $100,000. That's life-changing money, right? You can quit your day job, you can focus completely on your art, you're totally set. Or are you? Are you actually rich? Yeah, the answer is, well, it's a lot more complicated than a simple yes or no. And it reveals a fundamental, kind of hidden truth about how the entire music industry really works. So let's get into it.
To really get this, we have to start with how these deals are sold to artists in the first place. It all begins with this really appealing story, what we're calling the supportive illusion.
So, this is the pitch. The label comes to you and they act like your partner, your biggest supporter. They say, we're investing in you, in your talent. Here's a bunch of money so you can create your masterpiece without any financial stress. And, it sounds amazing, but you got to pay really close attention to that one word, investment. Okay, let's break this down, because this right here is the cornerstone of the whole illusion. We have to decode what an advance actually is in the world of a record deal.
And here it is, the single most important thing to understand. An advance is not a gift. It's not a salary. In reality, it is a loan that you, the artist, are 100% responsible for paying back before you ever see a single penny from your own royalty earnings. This is the absolute core of the whole system. And the fancy industry term for paying back that loan, it's called recoupment. It's just the process where the label claws back every single penny it spent on you directly from your slice of the pie. But what exactly are they taking back?
Well, it's not just that initial cash you got. Oh no, it is everything. The money to rent the studio, to hire producers, that's on you. The budget for that awesome music video, you owe that back. The cash they spent on marketing, on PR, even on tour support to get you on the road. All of it just gets piled on top of the artist's debt.
Okay, this is where it starts to get a little bit crazy. Because when you actually run the numbers on paying this debt back, you start to see just how steep the climb really is. Welcome to the impossible math of recoupment. Let's go back to our big, shiny number, that $100,000 advance. And just remember, once you add in all the costs for recording and videos and promotion, the actual debt is usually way, way higher. But hey, let's keep it simple. Let's just see what it takes to pay back that initial $100,000.
So let's say your album sells for $10. You don't get that $10, of course not. You get a royalty, which is this tiny percentage, usually around 10 to 15%. But it's actually worse than that, because that percentage is often calculated after the label takes out a whole bunch of other deductions.
And this just lays out the brutal reality. You might think, okay, if I make $1 per album, I need to sell 100,000 copies. I can do that. But in reality, after all those deductions, an artist might only be seeing about 15 cents per album. All of a sudden, you need to sell over 600,000 albums just to get back to zero.
So if the artist is out here struggling to sell over 500,000 records just to get out of debt, you have to ask, who is making money here? Let's flip this and look at it from the label's point of view.
What this whole system does is create this massive imbalance of risk. The artist carries the entire financial weight of their project. If the album doesn't sell well, they're the one left holding the debt. The label, on the other hand, is playing a numbers game. Their risk is spread out. They only need 1 or 2 massive hits from a roster of dozens of artists to be incredibly profitable.
And honestly, here's the real kicker. Even while the artist is unrecouped, while they're still technically in debt, the label's making money. The cash from getting your song in a movie or a TV show or a commercial, that often goes straight to the label's pockets. It doesn't always go towards paying down your debt. So the label is winning even when the artist is still deep in the red.
So why on earth does this system stick around? Well, for so many artists, signing that deal is the ultimate sign that they've made it. It's validation. It's their ticket to the big time. And that desire for legitimacy, it gives labels all the power they need to write contracts that will always, always favor them.
But listen, it doesn't have to be this way. The power dynamic is finally starting to shift. So for this last part, let's talk about how artists and the industry can start to rewrite the deal. The way forward really comes down to 3 key things. First, you have to educate yourself. Artists have got to understand this math inside and out.
Second, demand transparency. Insist on total clarity in contracts. And third, look for alternatives. There are new models out there like profit-sharing deals, where the artist and label are actual partners, splitting profits instead of just piling on debt.
I think this quote really just says it all. Recoupment isn't just about accounting on a spreadsheet. It's a story the industry tells itself, a story that makes it seem normal for an artist to have a hit song all over the radio and still be broke, still be in debt to their own success. It's wild.
Understanding this illusion, that's the crucial first step. But what comes next involves everyone, artists, managers, lawyers, even us as fans. Now that you can see behind the curtain, the real question becomes, what's it going to take to build a fairer system for the people who actually create the music that we all love?